Is gold now out of reach as an investment option to add to your portfolio? We know that gold right now is extremely expensive, and the way it's looking, it's only getting more expensive. So in today's episode, we're going to be discussing gold's price point, why it's a tier 1 asset, and why it's possible that gold could not be accessible to add to your investment portfolio going forwards in the future. Okay, so I want to dive straight into this video. Is gold out of reach? Well, it's currently March 2025. The price of gold for an ounce at spot price is £2,265. Now, going off of the previous year, so a year to date from now, that's a 34% increase and a price movement increase of £575 on the spot price for an ounce of gold. If we look at the price of a quarter ounce Britannia, we can see it's £617 and a 1 gram gold bar is £82. Straight away there, we can see some similar items that are very, very popular in the precious metals investment market, specifically 1 gram gold bars and quarter ounce gold and Britannias. You know I'm a fan of them, and I know a lot of you out there are also a fan of the quarter ounce Britannia. And I must say, I think we've also noticed the price difference. £617 for 7.7 grams of 24 carat bullion. That's a lot of money. That is an awful lot of money. There was a point when you could pick these up not that long ago, we're talking 2023, for around £450. That was a much more manageable fee to stomach. Whereas £617, I see that as a point of no return. It's broken that £500 mark for a quarter ounce Britannia. And that to me is a level where it seems very, very expensive. So let's go back in time slightly. Let's look at 2023 as an example, and let's use a 1 ounce gold and Britannia. In 2023, you could pick up a 1 ounce Queen Elizabeth golden Britannia for around £1,650. To pick up the same exact piece, but in March 2025, you're looking at £2,344. That's a price increase of £694. We can see the way gold price is moving. It's certainly going in only one direction. So where does that leave us? Well, in my opinion, it leaves us with a point where we can see that gold is no longer really at a price point where it's easily accessible to invest in. Of course, if you're a wealthy entrepreneur and you're very, very good with money, you might be able to make it work. But for the regular person who's looking at getting started at investing in commodities such as gold bullion, is very, very difficult. Of course, we know it's a tier 1 asset. It's probably one of the best investment vehicles you can have in your portfolio. But because of that, you do pay a premium for that security. Of course, you could switch to silver, but it's gold for me, and we know why. Silver has a huge price point because of its VAT in the United Kingdom. You have to pay 20% on that, and it's not really something I want to stomach. Also, it's a much lower price point, so there's less wealth being stored in that asset. Now, of course, inflation. How do we look at the price point and how do we justify how gold is increasingly going up in value? Well, we know that gold as an investment vehicle is a hedge against inflation. We use it as a backbone in our investment portfolio. If our index funds crash like the S&P 500 is doing right now because of the global tariff wars between America, Canada, and now going around the globe, we can see that when there's economic turmoil in the market, it proves that gold is that backbone in your portfolio because the price continues to go up. So yes, gold is very, very expensive, and it's becoming more and more difficult to invest in. So where does that leave us? Are people still going to be able to buy 1 ounce gold and Britannias going forward at over £2,000? Or are they going to have to stick to 1 gram gold bars, which carry huge premiums at £82, give or take, depending what bar and where you buy it from? It certainly leaves the question open, doesn't it? Is gold becoming out of reach? I mean, when you're looking at premiums and 1 gram gold bars and how it's hard to justify making that purchase, or looking at a quarter ounce gold Britannia for over £617. It's really hard to see how people are going to continue purchasing these as investment vehicles. Of course, I'm not saying because gold is expensive, it's not worth it. I think absolutely gold bullion is worth the price point. I think it's a fantastic store of wealth. It's a brilliant hedge against inflation, and it helps me sleep well at night. But there's no denying that it's becoming unaffordable. I really do think it's becoming unaffordable. It's not in correlation going up with the wages and what people are earning. So how is that going to continue being an investment vehicle that people can get involved in? I started purchasing gold bullion in 2020, and I was looking at 1 gram gold bars when they're around £50 to £55, and that was direct from the Royal Mint. If you're looking for that same bar now, you're going to be paying well over £100. And you can see where this is going, can't you? Gold is so good at doing what it does. It's such a good wealth preservation tool and hedge against inflation that it's performing so well, it's actually making leaps and bounds against the rate of economic growth and wage increases. Now, we've talked about gold and the positives and the price point. We know it's a fantastic investment vehicle, albeit expensive, but there are some negatives to mention as well. I don't want to get too caught up in how amazing it is, because I think as an investor, it's always important to look at the risk of everything as well. Now, of course, some of the negatives of gold is that there's a huge entrance fee. You have to pay a premium when buying from bullion dealers, and unless you buy second hand on the market, which has its own risks in my opinion, I think that you have to stomach those entrance fees. But of course, it does affect your ROI, your return on your investment. Moving on, gold doesn't pay you dividends. So if you're looking for an investment that wants to accumulate wealth and pay you back money, maybe you should look more at the S&P 500 on a dividend paying fund or dividend stocks. And also, it's a long-term investment, and in my opinion, that is a negative, because you've got to wait a very, very long time to get a good ROI on your investment, and you've got to hold it for a long time. It's very stale, it sits there, it doesn't do a lot, and it's a tangible asset that holds risk because you own it in your possession. Moving on to that though, there are some positives. It's a tier 1 asset, and for me, it's the safest haven for your money. Also, yes, there's premiums and entrance fees when buying gold, but it's still got much lower premiums than other precious metals like silver. Also, security. Yes, it's tangible, so there's risks to owning it, but it's also easily movable. You have full control, the banks don't own it, it's in your possession. And also, it's a very discreet investment vehicle. If you are discreet about it yourself, gold will look after you, and it will be discreet in return. So in conclusion, is gold now out of reach? Well, unfortunately, you're going to have to pay the prices to be involved with gold bullion, whether you like it or not. It just leaves us with the question, what will people be able to afford? Are they going to start buying more 1 gram gold bars, or maybe 1/10 Britannias? Or are they going to look at 22 carat sovereigns? I think that now fractional bars and coins will become more common because it's a more affordable option for people. Having said that, I'm a weight stacker and I'm always looking at the ROI on my investment. So would it be worth waiting longer and saving up for maybe a 1/4 ounce golden Britannia, or even a 1 ounce golden Britannia? The world's certainly getting more expensive, and it's something we need to bear in mind. But for now, I think it's better to have some gold rather than no gold. So if you can afford to, fantastic. And if you're looking to get involved with gold, I think you're looking at a great investment vehicle that's going to protect your wealth and look after your investment portfolio. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a video on, is gold now out of reach for investors, and is it too expensive? I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel here, please consider subscribing, because we put out content every single week regarding the S&P 500, index funds, property, and all things regarding investments. Until next time, I'll see you on the very next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.